Hi, this is Cressman, and for my tutorial I will be showing you how to make a ghost using the cloth component in Unity. So the first thing we're going to do is get a plane and change the height and width to 20 by 20, and same for the subdivisions. You want this to deform properly, and so you want just enough subdivisions where it looks right, but not enough where it bogs down Unity and crashes it. So the next thing we're going to be doing is adding a bone. You only need one bone in this to make it work, and you're going to put it right in the center. So this will be the root bone. Unity just needs to know this so that it knows the center, where the center of the cloth is, and where the edge of the cloth is. So we're going to go ahead, once we get the bone in, and we're going to skin it. And what we can do is keep it as is, as a square, bring it in, and that could just be a ghost itself because the cloth will deform, but we can do something a little bit better than this. So I'm going to use soft selection and make it a little bit more ghost shaped. You're going to want to hit B for soft select and go start in the center, and you're going to want to hold B to extend the range of the soft select a little bit, and just drag up a little bit so you get a little bit more of a ghost shape. Look at that. Already looks like a ghost. Now we're going to export this so that we can send it to Unity. Now I already have one already saved, so I'm not going to save it, but just so you know, name it cloth or whatever you want. Make sure it's an FBX, and make sure to hit export all so you get all the bones, and so that it stays skinned. So now we're going to head over to Photoshop and make our texture. I already have one done. That's my spooky ghost, so let's bring it into Unity and start here. As you can see, I already have a third-person controller in here with the Ethan model just taken out. So it's just a blank capsule collider that can run around, do other, third-person controller things. Look at it go. Now I'm going to bring in our current cloth model and put it on top or into our third-person controller so it can move around and stuff. And as you can see, when we hit play, it doesn't move very much. It's kind of stiff and not very clothy. So now we're going to uncheck P-Plane 1, because when you put on the cloth modifier component, it makes a duplicate that doesn't move. So to make it clothy, we're going to be adding the cloth component to our not so very clothy material right now. Next, we're going to add the root bone to the cloth material. So you're going to click on joint 1 and add that. And now for the fun of it, we're going to be using just P-Plane instead of the more ghost-like mesh that we made earlier, just to see how this looks. So right now you can see that it's pink because there's no material on it, so we're just going to put our little ghost man material on it. As you probably noticed before, there's a little there's a pea stain. Tom really pushed that because he looked so surprised, so I had to add a pea stain. So I'm just going to put it above the capsule collider, and there we go. Make sure that's all right there, and hit play. And yep, not a cloth. So what we have to do is add a capsule collider to it, since it only listens to capsule and sphere colliders. So we're just going to add this, change the size to 1, and make sure it's the third-person controller. So this is where I was having problems for my character for Senior Project with her cape, because they only listen to capsule and sphere colliders. It would either fall right through because it was only listening to 1, or it would just kind of crunch the character because 2 colliders were interfering with each other. So now you can see that it's now reacting to the capsule collider, but it fell right off. So one of the ways that you can fix this is by editing the constraints. And as you can see, it's really similar to painting weights, but it's not as a pain. So to get into view here. So what you're going to be changing is the max distance, and this will kind of change how far away that it can, the cloth can stretch. So we're going to start off by selecting all of it and turning on max distance. Change that to 2. So that will make everything's max distance 2. See how that works? And it's kind of chunky. So we're going to edit it a little bit more. So we're going to change the inside constraints a little bit. So we're going to select all these, make it a little bit less than 2, maybe like 1.8. This will tell each vertice how far that it can move from the root bone. As you can see, I'm only decreasing it by 0.2 each time, so that way the stretch isn't drastic, it looks kind of natural. By the end of this, you should be able to see a nice smooth gradient. So our other option that we have here is surface penetration, and what that does is tells all the other vertices that how far it can penetrate our mesh, in this case our capsule collider. So the other option that we have here is painting the weights, but since we have such a perfect shape, it's just easier to drag select. So now that we have all of this constrained, let's try this out and see how this works. And he's looking pretty ghost-like. Almost there. So let's see how he moves. Kind of, the mesh is kind of floating up everywhere. It's kind of crazy all over the place. We don't want that. So we're going to change the dampening to 0.5 and see how that works. So it makes it a little bit slower, acts a little bit more like cloth, staying closer to the ground, but still not quite right. So now that we have played around with the other mesh, let's try the one that's shaped right. So let me just move it so it's right on the capsule collider. And hit play. And you can see he already looks a lot better than the other one. It fits the capsule collider a little bit better, and it moves a little bit smoother. So, now let's go and check the constraints, and as you can see, it didn't save because it is a completely new shape. So instead of painting all the weights like we did again, there's another method of doing it, because since it's closer to the shape of the capsule collider, all we're going to have to do is just change these 4 vertexes and max distance, and we're only going to set that to 0.1. So this will just make it so the cloth doesn't move so much, and as you can see, it's moving a lot better. It looks a lot more like a person with the sheet over their head. Now we're just going to play around with some of the settings. So we're going to change the stretchy stiffness to 0.5, so it stretches a little bit more. And hit play. And a little bit more, less stiff. Kind of a little bit more janky looking. So now let's play around with the external acceleration. Just change that to just 1 for right now. Not much of a difference. Kind of looks the same. So let's just bump that up to 100 and try that. And as you can see, that is way too much. That does not look good whatsoever. But if we had a flag, that would have been something that we could use. So let's try the random acceleration. Try that at 100. And so every once in a while you'll get, random acceleration. So this would be good for, again, wind. So that way you have a more random, more natural look to it. And that's it for my tutorial on how to make a really simple ghost using Unity's cloth component. Thank you for watching.